and welcome to a brand new episode of Sipping Tea with Suzanne. Happy Black History Month. I am your fabulous host, Positively Suzanne, and I'm excited because I have with me in the studio the lovely Miss Ilene Holman from the Boisset Collection. How are
I am well.
you?
Yeah.
I am doing fantastic. Thank you. So, we're going to get an opportunity to chat for a whole hour. But before you do that, let me just say hi to a few folks and then we'll come right back.
Okay.
All right. So, thank you as always to our lovely, lovely viewers and subscribers. I appreciate you guys tuning in week after week. Honestly, your comments on the posts, your email, your texts, and everything, I truly appreciate that. And, this month during Black History Month, wanted to highlight Black excellence. And Eileen is a independent ambassador. She's a
Direct.
senior director at the Boisset Collection. And if you haven't guessed it, it's about fabulous wines. So I know some of y'all been dying to hear about wines. So she is going to give you guys a whole lesson. And I'm just going to sit back in awe and let you guys hear all the fabulousness. So again, thank you to all my loyal viewers and subscribers. Also, thank you to our executive producer, Paul Anderson, for making the magic happen week after week. Can't believe this is the third week because we've had two shows already. This is our third show. This is the third week, and then the fourth week, and then the month is done. The month flies by pretty quickly, and even though it looks like we're moving at warp speed and things are happening, how things are happening, the month is almost over.
I know. Goes by so fast.
It really, really does. So, anyway, I'm excited. So, welcome to the show.
Thank you. I'm really excited to be here
All
and
right.
share some of my wines, share how I got into
Yeah.
this business, and how far I go back with starting drinking wine.
All right. Well, we're going to talk a little bit about you because we're actually going to talk about, how you started out drinking wine, how you then decided that this is for you, and actually very exciting. You just got a new upgrade the other day in regards to you took a test and a new certification and you're all lottie dottie and I'm very excited for you. But let's talk about. So, did you know this was what you're going to pursue?
Initially, no. After 15 years with Fidelity Investments, living there as a senior
Wow.
software engineer in the web group, I I decided to go to Le Cordon Bleu. So my group had moved to Smithville, Rhode Island, and I didn't want to make the move. I went there a couple of times, but it just wasn't for me. As a single parent, my youngest was 12, and
Mm,
he had already had a couple of accidents and all that. So I wanted to be close to home. And going back, staying in Boston was easier for me to
yeah.
commute back home. But I decided to go to school to Le Cordon Bleu,
Love that.
and I did their 2.5 year program. So
Mm,
I came out of there with associates in science and arts and whatever, and chef diploma.
okay.
So I was always entertaining. Drinking wine started when I was younger at home. My father did 20 years in the army, and in various places that he went, he started to learn a little about wine. So
Mm,
he was at the age of, I think, around 11, he started serving wine to my sisters and I, and he was chasing it with ginger ale.
mm.
So if you're 10 years old and you're drinking a little ginger ale, oh, this tastes, I like this. And as I got older, I started drinking the cheaper wines, as most people will say, oh, I started with Boone's Farm. Yes, I started with Boone's Farm while I was Rose. And say, I had that first bad experience with Mad Dog one time, never again,
Okay.
which is a fine wine. And I learned
Okay.
as
So that is that a strong wine?
it's a strong wine.
Okay.
It's very fruity,
Okay.
sweet. But it's I learned about fortified wine and what goes into making a fortified wine. Most
Mm-hmm.
fortified wines are sweeter. So um, attending school at LaCour Blue.
Mm-hmm.
There was a beverage class. But prior to that, I wanted to learn about wine.
Mm.
And I was invited to a wine tasting. A friend of mine invited me in. And at the end of the tasting, I said to the woman who led it, I said, is there an opportunity here? Because I had been in direct sales before, and it's a
Yeah.
direct sales business. And she said, yeah, so different company, but I dove in. I mean,
Mm.
I knew nothing about wine other than drinking wine, but my palate was developing. So
Mm.
I wasn't drinking the sweeter wines anymore. I started drinking Merlot and instead of drinking the lighter whites, I was drinking Chardonnay. And then I went on to Malbec and just learning where some of these wines were coming from was very interesting to me. And the opportunity gave me a way to bring in extra income while I was working. Well, the income was nice. It's just that
Mm-hmm.
learning about wine and doing wine tastings helped me um, uh, learn more. Um, the I the first company, there was a book called that came along with the kit, Windows of the World Wine Tasting Course
Mm-hmm.
by Kevin Zarley. And the book was it was easy to read,
Mm-hmm.
it was entertaining, and just enough to where you could I could talk comfortably
Mm.
about wine. So going forward from there, I leave Fidelity. And I started working in a restaurant.
Mm-hmm.
And I left the restaurant and went to a catering company. From the catering company, I left the catering company. It was a little bit too far from home. And what I wanted to do was um, catering fine dinners where
Mm.
it was going to be a 5 course meal and also bring in wines and pair
Mm-hmm.
wines was no longer associated with that first company that I started with. And the commute to where the catering company was a little bit too much. And I started looking for something closer to home, wasn't too much in wine. And then I decided to stop altogether working in a restaurant because when I went to Le Cordon Bleu, I was 50.
Mm.
And at 50, to try to keep up with the youngsters was a little bit too much. So I went into my first sales job,
Mm.
and that was working for a company in Southbridge, wine and spirits. So, and they hired me because of my wine knowledge.
Mm-hmm.
So, and they taught me more about spirits, but
Mm-hmm.
it was easy for me to go in with a subject that I understood,
Mm-hmm.
and to go in and taste with store owners. So knocking on doors, it was cold calls. So Worcester was in my area, but I went to Lowell was my area. It was my area, and I'd go in and I'd ask for the wine manager and hope that they would be willing to taste some of my wines. I did that with this company for a year, and I was at an event in Marlborough
Mm-hmm.
that the liquor stores owners in Massachusetts put on once a year, so where they have spirit distributors and wine distributors, and they go in and they taste from each vendor. Walking the floor, I was looking for Guy Davis, Davis Family Vineyard out of Russian River Valley
Mm-hmm.
in California. The company at the time that was their distributor was Ruby. So I went up to Ruby and I was like, "This Guy here,"
Mm-hmm.
and I had met Guy from the previous company that I was doing direct sales with, the wine tasting. So he wasn't there, but the wine director who was with the company that I was with was there and saw me and said, "You," and introduced me to a person that he was working with, Bruce Amos, who is out of um, Northampton and has a
Mm-hmm.
store there, but he had his own distributorship. So I worked for this company for a while. Worcester was my territory, Lowell, and we sold wines from California vineyards, um, Argentina, and
Mm.
Chile. So we had a really nice Malbecs, some nice cabs from California as well as from Chile, Granada, and I was learning of different
Mm-hmm.
grapes that I have never varietals that I had never tried before. You
Mm.
know, so yeah.
Okay. So how did you get to the Boisset collection?
So with this company, with Boisset, I started as a customer.
Oh, okay.
I was at a conference in Vegas in
Mm-hmm.
August of 2019. I met up with a friend who I had met from that many, many years ago, direct sales company. That was a
Yeah.
wine company, who she lived in Vegas. So, and every time I was in the Vegas area, I tried to meet up with her. And we met up for dinner.
Mm-hmm.
And she said, "Hey, Eileen, you have to try this wine. And here's my gift to you." I nursed that bottle of wine. It was a red blend for 4 days. Oh my God. It
Mm.
was fantastic. I also joined her wine club.
Okay. Okay.
And
Food and wine.
exactly. And we both talked about how, we can, take both of these great products and share them with other people and pair. So in January of that year, I had a friend who's a restaurateur who wanted to join the wine club.
Mm.
I have a dinner group, and we haven't been together in a while, but once every other month we got together,
Mm-hmm.
and it was all about food and wine. And since I led the group, I'd send out recipes and I'd say, take the recipe, make it your own. Don't worry about the wine, where people would still bring wine anyway, but that's okay. I love trying different things. Um, and this one friend who I invited to the group said, Eileen, these wines are magnificent. She's Italian. And she said, I want to join your wine club.
Mm.
And she said, but if I join your wine club, are you going to get anything like a referral? I said, I don't know, but let me call my friend Donna. I called my friend Donna, and Donna says, you're going to get a thank you from me, but she said, join. It's January 2020. She said, it's half price to join for the kit. And I said, I am not interested in building a business. I don't, she said, "Oh, also, Eileen, you'll save money on your own wine purchase. So
Okay.
you'll get commission."
Mm-hmm.
So I said, okay, I'm gonna join, but please do not bother me. I do not want to do this. And that's that, because
Okay.
I was doing something else. So my husband's gonna kill me. I'm not, but
Mm.
So a month later, um, my friend who joined the club, and I talked about I do a wine tasting,
Mm-hmm.
and she would do cook a dish.
Yeah.
And she invited some of her friends, and it was virtual because I think it was still during COVID.
Yeah.
And people ordered the kit, and I did the tasting, and she did the food, and it was a mussel dish that she did,
Mm-hmm.
and she paired the mussel. She used a white wine versus a red wine,
Mm-hmm.
and for each other dish, we were like, oh, try this, and this is perfect with this. What was it? A white blend, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And she she did her thing and I did my thing.
Mm-hmm.
So that brought in more members,
Mm-hmm.
more wine society members, and
Mm-hmm.
that's our wine club. And the cost in 2020, half price January, cost me $10 to start my own business,
Mm-hmm.
as
Wow.
So, but still, remember I was not
You're
interested.
like, I'm not.
Yeah, and I was very clear, do not bother me. In September of 2020, I was laid off
Mm.
and very involved in the Chamber of Commerce in Worcester.
Mm-hmm.
and I was working for the day job was merchant services, and I in Connect Two. I stood up to do my commercial, and it's like I didn't have a job, and I said, I was doing merchant services. I'm not doing that anymore. And I'm going to figure it out. I'm like, wait a minute. I have a wine business. I'm going to learn more about this business and I'll have more to share next time I come in. So
Wow.
that's when I started building the business.
Mm.
That's when I started doing um, wine tastings
Mm-hmm.
and still COVID virtual. And then the following year, I started sponsoring people. So I
Mm.
was generating income from doing wine tastings. I do presentation, full professional presentation. At the end, people would buy wine. When you're selling, you always have to ask at the end. And
Mm-hmm.
I finished, and I
Mm-hmm.
would hope you like some of these wines, and the
Mm-hmm.
wines that you like, you will order, or you'll join our wine club.
Mm-hmm.
So, more Wine Society members from that brought on one of my, actually two friends at the time. A friend of mine in Texas wanted to do gift baskets and wine. And I said, well, you really can't sell the wine, resell, but
Mm-hmm.
however, you can do the basket
Mm-hmm.
and your customer just orders the wine.
Mm-hmm.
And so she was my first person, and then I did a wine tasting. A young lady who is retired National Guards and wants to learn about wine, like me. And I said it's very, very easy. This company, in terms of the education they provide, is fantastic. Our sommelier, our corporate sommelier, her name is Marniol. She was here 3 weeks ago and did a wine tasting for me in Lancaster. And we had a little over 20 people attend. And but she takes care of all of the training.
Mm-hmm.
So if you don't need to know anything about wine,
Mm-hmm.
it's there, basically the ABCs of wine, wine
Mm-hmm.
101. Our vineyards, of which we own over 30 vineyards.
Mm-hmm.
We are based in Napa
Mm.
in the US and Burgundy in France. So we have some beautiful wines.
Mm-hmm.
In my book of business, there's about 125 wines that are only available through me. My wines are direct to consumer.
Mm.
I do not do inventory because it's alcohol.
Mm-hmm.
And with alcohol, you do have to have a license
Mm-hmm.
to sell. I work off of the corporate license.
Mm-hmm.
So um, people order from me online,
Mm-hmm.
and the company ships the wine direct to them. Somebody does have to be home, that's 21,
Mm-hmm.
to sign for it.
Okay.
This tastes good.
I know. I've been loving mint tea lately. So you do wines, I do teas. All right. So how does one get in touch with you though if they want to purchase the wine?
So I do have a website, and um, or they can contact me through email,
Mm-hmm.
or they can call me
All
since
right.
this is live.
Perfect. And your email is
So my email is Ilene, it's spelled Ilene at winewithilene.com.
I love it. Makes it simple. All right. So the company that you work for, you mentioned that they're out of Napa and Burgundy, France.
Mm-hmm.
All right. And you are what I know that you're a senior director with
Mm-hmm.
them, but recently you just received a new certification.
So yes, I finally took the course with Wine and Spirits Education Trust.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're looking to get a certificate in wine, fantastic course. It was very simple, and you do not need to know anything about
Mm-hmm.
wine. to take this course. There's a WSET 1, WSET 2. I took the WSET 2. WSET 1, there's no prereq. And you save yourself some money if you want to go on by
Mm-hmm.
just going right into WSET 2.
Mm-hmm.
I think the book is 100 pages. I did it online,
Mm-hmm.
and we met once a week and did wine tastings. I think the course was $700, but I hate taking tests. I get very nervous, like I get sick. And when I finished it at home, I was already studying again because you know you know.
Yeah.
And it took 2 weeks, and I got an email
Mm-hmm.
saying that I passed, and I was very very
Congrats.
that's one. The instructor was going on because I would describe some of the wines that we were tasting because she'd call on you and Eileen. Oh
Mm.
my God, you said to me, I'm like this.
Oh my
You know,
goodness. All right, so let's do some basic wine
mhm,
here, because there's a lot of people who drink wine,
mhm,
but not a lot of people like know wine. So you
mhm,
mentioned that obviously you said when you started out, you started with the cheap wines,
mhm.
right? I think you said Boone's Farm, was it?
Booms farm, yes, and I grew up in the '70s,
Yeah, so
so
that was like like I don't even know, does it still exist
I
today?
don't know. Honestly, I don't know.
So obviously, but I think like when you're just starting out with things, because it's like personally for me, like when I just started out like with chocolate, you Snickers bar,
Uh-huh.
things like that, and then you start to graduate, you go to Godiva and things like that.
Right.
You as your palate grows, it
Excellent
grows.
question.
It grows. So you started there, and your palate started to grow, and
Hmm.
you started to go steer away. You said from the sweet
Hmm.
wine to the more dry
Hmm.
wines and things like that. But what are some of the tips you could give to someone who's starting to drink wine and said, I really want to develop a better palate?
Hmm. So, first of all, let's go at price.
Mm-hmm.
So, you can buy a good bottle of wine. Honestly, you can buy a good bottle of wine for $10 or
Okay.
less. Okay, in some stores,
Mm-hmm.
especially when stores are having a sale.
Mm-hmm.
And then, in terms of taste, I find most people will start off with your white wines.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, Pinot Grigio,
Mm-hmm.
it's an Italian grape. And when you think of it, it's an unoak, it's very fresh, it's light, perfect in the summertime and chilled.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Merlot is usually the first for red wine
Mm-hmm.
that people will try. And Merlots can be a medium to heavy, to
Mm.
um, meaning that, and it could
Mm-hmm.
be also very fruit
Mm-hmm.
forward.
Mm-hmm.
And Americans like that immediate gratification
Mm.
when it comes to food,
Mm-hmm.
drinking wine as well.
Yeah.
That too. For me, I started with, as I was developing my
Mm-hmm.
palate, um, Robert Mondavi wines I was
Mm.
drinking. Um, Not so, that's the one probably I drank the most.
Mm-hmm.
And the Cabs, Merlot,
Mm-hmm.
and the Chardonnays. I found that I didn't really like Chardonnay, and
Mm.
you would find because it as a white grape, and you would think that it's
Mm-hmm.
light. What I didn't like about Chardonnays is that back then it seemed that they were overly oak, so they had that instead of a soft pat of butter,
Mm-hmm.
it was like a stick of butter. I
Mm.
like to spread my butter on my bread. I
Ah.
don't want to eat the whole stick.
Okay.
So I shied away
Mm.
from Chardonnays because of that.
Mm-hmm.
But you're talking American Chardonnays, where if you have a French Chardonnay,
Mm-hmm.
that could, all can be all two different flavor
Mm.
profiles. Chardonnay, Puy Fusé, out of Burgundy. It's Chardonnay. You
Mm.
know, different. If you were to have that with a glass of American Chardonnay that has been oaked, different, different. It's going to be oakier
Mm-hmm.
on the American side. One of the things I really like about Boisset is that the company being based in Burgundy, the owner, Jean-Charles Boisset, um, in terms of the winemaking style,
Mm-hmm.
it's more of a French
Mm.
winemaking style. So it's a lot lighter.
Mm.
So the Chardonnays are more approachable. I did a wine tasting dinner um, the second Saturday in January at the Theater Cafe,
Mm.
which is, by the way, it's bring your own booze. And I worked with a person who won a certificate
Mm.
at some charity event. And for each dish, and I applied my chef skills too.
Mm. Okay,
I,
girl. Okay.
she gave me the menu, and the first wine was a sparkling wine. And when you think of sparkling wine, oysters on a half shell, ceviche,
Mm.
whether it's shrimp or some other type of white fish. Um, and there was pot sticker. I forget what the pot sticker, but that's what we started off with, a
Mm-hmm.
sparkling wine. And then the next dish was a salad, and we had a Chardonnay. The Chardonnay was an unoaked Chardonnay,
Mm.
more crisp, green apple, and
Mm-hmm.
we went from there to a what was it, a butter butternut um, bisque
Mm-hmm.
squash. Oh my God! And I changed that up with a an oak Chardonnay.
Mm-hmm.
And the oak Chardonnay that I chose, and these are all Boisset wines, was LVE,
Mm-hmm.
Legend Vineyard exclusive. That's John Legend.
Mm-hmm.
And so this is a touch of oak in this particular wine. Now, the woman who was hosting this dinner party said to me, my friends don't like Chardonnay.
Mm.
And I said, well, these Chardonnays are not over the top.
Mm.
And she didn't order, I ordered the first set. And
Mm-hmm.
because of the amount of people, she ordered more wine. We ran out of the Chardonnay because,
Wow.
her friends that didn't like Chardonnay.
What? What you get? Okay. I love it.
Yes. And and then the next wine was a fish. The next dish was a fish dish. Now we already started off with three white wines: the sparkling, um, the the salad, and the soup. So I went to a Pinot Noir. Pinot Noir is a very elegant, I want to
Mm.
say, and that's the we have a color coded system, and that's where we list Pinot Noir.
Mm.
They're light, and they pair well with food.
Mm.
Now, because of the amount of white wines we served, and really needed to have a red wine, it was perfect with the
Okay.
fish dish that he made. Oh, the food was amazing. It was a fish melanie, but that in a nice broth
Mm-hmm.
paired very well. And the last dish was steak, and I ended that with a red blend, a
Mm.
very powerful but really fruity red blend.
Mm-hmm.
Um, this will be my third year. I know I'm changing the subject. That I'll have a table at the Boston Wine Expo
Mm-hmm.
on the 4th and 5th. Every year that I've been attending that event, there's a wine. It's called the Sheriff.
Mm-hmm.
And the Sheriff was produced by the oldest and very first premier vineyard out of California that we own. It's called Buena Vista. It was started in 1857 by a Hungarian immigrant. And it's amazing wine. And each year people come to the table because depending on what the vintage is, to try the
Mm.
Sheriff.
And I take it it's a big hit.
It's a big hit.
It's a big hit. All right. So now if somebody's going to, like for me, I'm not a wine drinker, but if I'm going to visit someone and, for a dinner party, and, what would you recommend I bring? I mean, if I don't know what the menu is, should I know the menu before I bring a wine?
If you do not know what the menu, I always say Pinot Noir.
Pinot Noir.
That's Pinot Noir.
Pinot Noir. Okay. All right.
It's
so
perfect.
I'm going to write that down.
Powerful, but Pinot Noir is perfect. If you don't know.
Yeah, if I don't know the menu and I don't want to call and says, what are you cooking?
Exactly. Or a Beaujolais.
Okay. That one I'm not familiar with. Okay. All right.
Those are the two.
Those are the two. All right. And then why do people always pair red with steak?
Okay. Well,
is there a reason or it's just...
Yes, because steaks are, when you think of the fat in a steak and all, and it's red meat and it's heavier.
Okay.
That's why.
Okay.
They pair.
Okay.
A red wine, a heavier, right? A can. Perfect with the steak, whether it be porterhouse, a filet mignon, or ribeye.
Okay.
A cab, or a red blend.
Okay.
Pinot Noir would be too light.
Okay, too light. Okay. All right. Look at this. I'm getting education in wine. I absolutely love it. So, what's the most expensive wine you have ever tasted? Because I know there's some wines that, like, the prices are insane. What's the most expensive wine you have ever tasted?
I think it's been one of ours. Yeah. No. I think it's been one of.
Okay. One of the collections.
And it would be the Surrealist, which is 100% cab, and it retails at $385.
Okay.
So I think that's probably my most expensive one. And I've visited other vineyards in California that have, high-end wines, but I think the Surrealist has probably been the.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So this transition for you, you were in computers, and then you're a chef. Your merchant service and wine. I mean, I think the only thing is like the computer didn't, but the chef, the wine, and things like that. Those certain correlate. Do you ever find yourself missing the computer element, or you're just like, this was where I was leading up to all along?
No, it was a go-to when I left the restaurant. It's like, build website, so contract until I can find something. So
no,
I'm happy where I am now.
I love it.
It's I tell people, well, I see things, and if I go to a website and I see under construction, that no, you don't do that. It's just it's a no. At least that's one of the things that I learned at Fidelity Investments, and they trained us in terms of what a website should look like. Usability, what you want to look for, where people's eyes gravitate towards logging in, logging off. But yeah, there was a, I'm not going to say the company, it was somebody we're looking at as a contender for us to give money to. And their website was like under construction. I was like, that's no. And the woman explained, which and it made sense, but still, it's you at least put something about who you are. You click on that, have a cover page, and click, and you can see who they're about, and remember maybe who's on your board. Not a under construction, especially nowadays, because the web is nothing like it was when I was working at Fidelity Investments.
Absolutely. So do you do your own, I mean, since you have that background, so you do your own website and things like that?
So, no. So my website with the company is already built.
Oh, okay.
So as soon as I
You don't have to, okay.
Right. I am thinking, however, of creating a cover page where, Wine with Ilene with my own logo, which I'm working on right now, and you click to purchase wine, it would bring you to my Boisset website.
All right, awesome.
Yeah.
So you mentioned that you have a couple of things coming up. You're going to be in Boston at this event. Any upcoming event that you're going to be a part of that the audience could certainly?
So the expo, the Boston Wine Expo, which is at the Park Plaza on the 5th and 6th. So and there's two sessions per day, plus there's wine education as well. And the floor is massive. Lots of wineries. Pace yourself.
Yes, pace yourself.
It is okay to spit. Okay. So I do dry January. I did the tasting and the spitting.
Okay. Dry January is a thing, people.
Yeah, and other than that, I don't have anything lined up. I did give away a certificate, donated a certificate
Okay.
on Saturday. I do have some tastings coming up for people who won a tasting from, I did a raffle. So I have to contact them. But other than, corporate wise, with Boisset, we have an annual retreat, and the retreat is on March 1st. Annually, we normally go to California. This year we're not. The wine industry as a whole is taking a slowdown, especially with the attorney general, the doctor, the surgeon general, saying how wine is any form of alcohol is not good for you. So I think that has taken
giving it some hit.
Yeah, but it's just like smokers. It says can cause cancer, but people still smoke.
Okay.
Everything in moderation. So you just don't go overboard. And yeah, that's it. I don't have any other
any upcoming. Okay, awesome. So actually, I attended one of your wine tasting. I did. It was lovely. Okay, all right. So I was the only one drinking Sprite, but but it was lovely. My friend enjoyed. I know. I think I took two friends with me or three. I can't remember. I know that a couple of them had ordered wine and they loved it. So great recommendation. So if you have the opportunity to go to one of her wine tasting, it's so well done, so professional, so much information about just the history of the wine and all that. They truly enjoyed it. So I'm gonna tell you, like, just check her out, connect with her because you won't be disappointed. So I know you brought a bottle of wine that you're gonna tell us about.
Yes.
All right. So you can lift it.
And before I tell you about that, I told you about the wine club. If I could explain a little bit about
Absolutely. Let's talk about the wine club.
So the first wine club, the wine club that I joined and eventually became an independent direct ambassador, is called the Wine Society. Membership is free. As a Wine Society member, you have access to our vineyards. I've had a couple of customers visit vineyards, a couple in Fitchburg. They were in San Francisco and called and said, "Hey, Ilene, we want to go to the tasting room at the Ritz-Carlton. And can you call?" And I said, "Listen, I'm gonna text her, but please make a reservation." They and then another customer who was he who had visited Raymond Vineyards. He was recently at Raymond Vineyards. So you have, as a Wine Society member, as I said, you have access to our vineyards, and there's membership is free. It ships quarterly, so 4 times a year for a minimum of 3, 6, or 12 wines. You can add. It is 100% customizable from the very first order. So if you don't like the wines that are pre-selected, you can change it white or red or both. And if you're looking to learn or try more wines, I say go with both. The other club is a collector's club. The collector's club ships twice a year. That's a JCB collector's club. Wines range anywhere from 1800 to 2000. And it ships, as I said, twice a year in the spring and again in the fall for 12 wines. And there's a fee. It's a $500 fee to join the club. You get a gold card. You get a bottle of the Surrealist that you were asking me, one of the most expensive,
La la.
and which is it's a beautiful bottle, a beautiful wine. And you also get invited for both clubs to our special events, private events in California as well. Now to the JCB Unity. So this for the month of February, for Black History Month, 20% of the proceeds from the sale of this wine go to the the African American Vintner Association, as well as Wine Unity and several other organizations. So this 20% goes back. And in terms of other wines that we have, the Unity has done better with in the giving to several organizations. Wine Unity, the African American Association, Vintner Association have scholarships. So if you're, young African American, Black American, and you want to study wine, you can apply for scholarships through these two organizations. And the this bottle was all brought about with the tragedy of George Floyd. And Jean Charles says, it's a terrible thing that happened. What can we do? What can we do to help the community? And this wine came about. It is a Cabernet Sauvignon.
Okay.
Excellent book.
All right. Let's see. All right. Beautiful. All right. Out of tragedy, right? They must be hope. There must be hope.
Exactly. And with Boisset Collection, I am also part of their D&I, diversity and inclusive. We were DEI, we changed it to diversity inclusive. And for me, it was new coming on board, and just looking at this bottle, and I said, what would be great? I have an idea I want to share with you. I'm on the program committee, and I shared it with the program committee first, and I said, Unity, wouldn't it be fantastic if we could take that to the community, the BIPOC community, artists, have them design a label.
Okay.
Be an artist contest. It's going to be coming out soon, so we're waiting for this for the 20. I think that this 2021. This one has already been completely labeled, so we're waiting for the new one to come.
Okay.
And the winner, 1,500 will go to their charity of choice, and their artwork will be on the label. On the back is, we can't touch that because of legal reasons, but it's a way to show your artwork nationally. So from there, the committee was like, Ilene, this is great. So we brought that to the main committee, and they were like, so we presented it to our director of the ambassador program, Cassandra Malhewish, who brought it to our proprietor, Jean-Charles Boisset. Everybody loves it, so it is it, and I'm really happy that this is going to. So, hey, you young Black artists out there,
let's get designing.
Ilene, winewithilene.com, and what we're looking for is what diversity means to you. And if you'll be contacted once we start this. And if your artwork is one of the pieces being considered, we will be looking for I think a couple minutes video on what your artwork means to you, and a bio as well. And we're looking for a paragraph. So as we get closer, and I get more information, and once we have it finalized, I'll pass it on to you.
Oh, absolutely! I would love to share that. I mean, absolutely. Let's do this. Like, and you get your art on a bottle. I think that's fantastic, and visibility. One more thing I was going to want to ask you, because I know that you love to travel. I want to ask you about that, but I know that because I think I heard this when I was at your wine tasting. When you're actually able to do personalized labels, right?
Custom labels.
Custom labels. Yes, yes.
Just got engaged, and I did a personal label for him and his fiance October 28th in Barcelona. So it's a picture of them on the bottle. And the custom label wines are case. So we can't split it. You can't put multiple labels. It's one label, but they do a beautiful job.
Yeah.
And there are, right now, I believe there's 4 wines. Usually there's more, but there's 4 wines in the lineup. And they're all excellent wines. So when people say, "What's your favorite?" I like all of our wines. you know, I do have some favorites as
well. Okay, wonderful. That's awesome. Now, I wanted to talk about that because I thought that was so beautiful. I was just thinking of, for an engagement, for a wedding, something like that. Imagine having a wedding and just having like the personalized wines there. You say it comes by the case. And I mean, I know I went to a wedding in Brazil and, they had the wines, like they had ordered all these wines from Portugal. So, and it was a lot of wine. And I mean, it was a lot of people. It was one of the biggest ones I've ever been. And people drink wine. So honestly, a case would not be enough. But I love that.
Well, thank you. Corporate events, if it's a charitable organization, they're having a big dinner, or yes, and get a sponsor to buy the wine.
No, absolutely, absolutely. All right. So I know that you love to travel.
Yes, I do.
Yes. So no, listen, I love to travel. Believe me, I don't know why I'm in the cold right now, digging out. Okay, so I'm not technically digging out any ice. Yeah. I think we should do something. I think we should be somewhere warm. We're not. We are wearing flats so that we can walk over the ice. But what are some of your favorite places that you visited?
This is probably one of my favorite
places. Really?
The island is beautiful. The people are wonderful.
Yeah.
And then England. I love England too.
Yeah.
My old country. And my in-laws are in England, so I try to spend a couple of days in London, and then I go off to the countryside. Last year, I went to France for the first time.
Oh, wow.
And, oh my God, I did a riverboat cruise. It was amazing.
Did you? Okay.
It was so nice. And the first 4.5 days we stayed, stayed in Lyon for one night. And then we went to Bonn, which is the capital of Burgundy. And we stayed at I think it's called the Arch Hotel, which is a 5-star hotel. It's just the wine and the food and the Michelin star restaurants.
Wow.
The amount of Michelin star restaurants. There's one right around the corner, and I did a 6-course meal, and it had wine to go with it as well.
Okay.
Kind of like going to in California. And what is it? Sonoma, the French Laundry. Which, if you go to California and you go to that area, you want to go to the French Laundry for the experience. It was really. So yeah, France was nice. And when we got on the boat, and I think we were delayed leaving, but oh my God, for each town that we stopped and got out and walked around. I mean, Lyon was beautiful. Lyon has the most Michelin star restaurants.
Really?
And so in France, it's like the restaurant capital. And I know this because my friend, one of my customers, is from France. She said, "You have to go there." It was really nice, and the people were nice. And I think, yeah. So in England, and Edinburgh. That is nice. My sister-in-law is the director of the Scottish Chamber Orchestra. She, the concert booker, which which is fantastic, and then California too.
Okay.
So San Francisco, wine country.
Mm.
So as a member of our wine club, a total of 4 people. That first pour is complimentary, and you get a 20% discount, up to 20%. Plus, you get that same discount at any of our vineyards that you visit in California, except the JCB lounge. Unless you're a JCB collector, it's a little different.
All right. So I remember, oh my goodness, I'm trying to remember what year was this. I think it was maybe 2010 or 11. I was a district manager for this brand and we were based in California. So I went out there and we went on a wine train at sunset. It was, I mean, again, the wine was wasted on me, but it was stunning. It was beautiful. Have you ever been on it?
I have not, and I thought about it, and somebody said, we can go to a couple of, let's get a car.
Yeah.
Go to a couple other places because we probably have a better experience. And they thought it was too much.
Yeah.
So I said, okay.
Yeah, no, I mean, so we were a bunch of district managers and, there was like the CEO and was the CEO there? I don't know if he was there, but I know like the VP, there was several VPs and AVPs and like they had us all on this wine train. And let me just tell you, wow, wine makes you know people because inhibitions were released and like they were just drinking and it was insane. Like I think a lot of insanity, but it was the scenery was beautiful and just it was really well done. I thought it was really nice actually.
Wine unites us.
Okay.
It's a great bottle of wine, friends, people that you know. You remember that moment. You remember that the type of wine. You may remember the name.
Yeah.
And today, everybody has phones. So most of them, if when a wine comes up with the next dish, and I haven't had it before, and I like it, I take a snap.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I mean, we had cell phones then, but it was different. Like that time, like it just cell phones were different then.
Exactly.
It was so different, but yeah.
But the whole connection there.
It was very nice. It was nice. It was nice. Yeah, I was able, it's funny, like, and I said, inhibitions were released and, a lot of the big wigs in the company, like, I had the opportunity, like, to chat with them. And I think that if we weren't in that setting and they weren't loosened up, I probably wouldn't have been as candid as I was. I mean, it was good. I mean, I had a good time. I drank my Coke and I was good. Excuse me. Yeah, so I had a good time. But no, listen, thank you so much. You have such knowledge about wine. And I think it's so important for us to share this. And, the fact that I thought it was Black History Month, I thought that, we should learn about this. There's a show on Peacock with Kevin Hart, and it's called Heart to Heart. And I love it because he has a sommelier, and they drink wine. And I mean, he's an idiot. I love him though. Like he's just ridiculous. But his sommelier happens to be a black man, and then they discuss the wine and they drink wine and they talk. And people like loosen the inhibition, but they're drinking really good wine. Yeah. Have you? So I see you're familiar with it.
So I've seen that show one time, but when you look at the time and the changing colors of wine, because they're changing the days that 2025 was supposed to be mostly Hispanic, then blacks, and then Asian Americans, because a lot of your baby boomers are just they're not buying they're old and some of them are dying off and they're not buying the wine like they used to. So it's changing. The wine drinkers are changing. So in a couple of years from now, you're going to see more and more. And when you look at if you do a search on just wine drinkers or Black Girls Love Wine, there's so many different organizations out there. Wine Unity, young lady who's the president of that company was a wine ambassador. She
Mm-hmm.
was living in Harvard and they moved her to California. They offered her the position, and now she's the CEO for
Mm-hmm.
Wine Unity. So there's a lot of um, different organizations, and we're drinking wine. I mean, we're drinking serious wine.
Okay, I love it. Well, thank you so much. I truly appreciate you coming on and sharing your passion and your knowledge with us. And I know that those that are watching learn something. I certainly learned something what to bring if I'm unsure of what they're cooking, and just show up. And it doesn't have to be $100, but we can certainly spend something. So thank
Mm-hmm.
you for coming on. So I'm gonna go say bye to the guests. And if you think of anything else you want to share, we can share that before we sign off. So think about it, and I'll say goodbye to the guests. All right.
Okay.
Thank you so much. So thank you all to our loyal viewers and subscribers for tuning in. Thank you, Mr. Paul Anderson. Make sure you watch this episode because there's so many gems about wine, and I know that you guys have questions, and it's right here in this lovely package. So thank you so much for coming on. And again, thank you for sharing. I appreciate all that you've taught me today about wine. So now I can pretend to be an expert.
I appreciate the invitation, and I wish I could have filled in less. I'm really excited to be here, and thank you for it.
No problem. Anytime. We are taking over. We
I'd
are in,
yeah.
in every industry. Well, you are welcome to come back, and I will absolutely share. So let me know where you're going to be next, and I'll absolutely share that information. All right. Thank you so much. Until next time, this is Positively Suzanne, and
Ilene Holman, Wine with Ilene.
I love it. You know. I love it. My father, when I started bringing wine home, like yeah, when they first had the street house at WS. Yeah. I said, no, no, no. Yeah. It's really good. Yeah. Oh, both of you. Yeah. Yeah. And then they say to them, my father was so sweet. So he taught us how to set the table. Being in the army for 20 years, I figured out a lot of books and stuff like that. I didn't formally set a table. You have to know that. It's just so. I used to a secretary for the first time I was a secretary of a company.